Hi everybody, it's Cindy. It is July 18th and I'm back for a garden update. If you're new to my channel, welcome, and if you're returning, thank you so much. I've had several requests to do a garden update. I'd be happy to share that with you. I got up early and shot some footage, and I do it to encourage somebody to grow something, even if it's in a pot. 90% of what I grew this year started from seed myself. I built this gardens myself this year. I've only been at this property for 6 months. So I am not a professional gardener. I just do it as a hobby. I hope you enjoy the footage. And I do get my love of gardening from my mom. She's in her mid-70s. She still tinkers out in the garden every day. That's where I am most of the summer. I am out in the garden, hiking, walking. You could hear the birds around me. I hope you enjoy this footage. I tried to go slow, not to make anybody dizzy with motion sickness. And until we meet again, everyone, happy gardening. Hi everybody, it's Cindy. It is July 18th, and I'm going to take you on a tour of the garden. Several of you have been asking for that, so let's get started. In the front, I have a mailbox planter. And we'll go in. The flowers are doing well. This is, right by the road, so it's very pretty when you drive by. And I'm going to show you the other planter. Here is the other planter on the left. Everything's doing good. And as you can see, I planted a sunflower in here. And it is so tall. It's not blooming yet, but it will be beautiful when it blooms. It gives a good visual. And I'm showing you the back end so you could see how tall really the sunflower is. It's definitely probably 5 or 6 feet tall now in this planter. This is going down into my driveway. This is the front garden. And I'm just giving you like a visual of going down the driveway and you're in the front of the house with the garden. If you're new to my channel, I put in this garden myself with all the bricks this spring. And let's take a look. Okay, in these little pots here, I do have 2 small blueberry bushes that I still want to plant. Got some sunflowers in this bed popping up. In this little growing container is bee balm. Back here you have Shasta daisies. They didn't bloom yet. And this grew, I have no idea what it is. Being honest, don't know what it is. I'm just a small gardener. I don't know everything. I'm just a local happy gardener. Always experimenting. And at the beginning of the bed, we have moved my bunny rabbit over here. Got my petunias in a bucket. And as you could see, all of the sunflowers are getting tall. In the back, on the brims, I have all different kinds of lettuces growing in pots. I got my bird feeder, and this has a lot of action here. As you can see on my door, I still have a wreath with eggs on it. Never switched it out. I've been so busy with the garden. Back in that planter, it's this farmhouse. I grew marigolds. It's beautiful. Gives a nice bright background. All these sunflowers here I didn't plant. These are from the feeder. And if you can see those 2 windows, I sit at that window and eat every day. My breakfast, lunch, dinner. I could see the birds coming in and out. It's a great place to sit and eat. Over here, these are all Lilliput zinnias. There's more zinnias here. A lot of my zinnias got eaten at the beginning of the season by rabbits, so I replanted and I did different mixes of the zinnias. Back in this bucket, we have zinnias and coneflowers, and in the bucket, nobody got to them. This is the butterfly bush, and it's getting very big, as you could see. These are purple. Over here we got more zinnias still growing. More sunflowers. Now I grew probably 5 or 6 varieties. This sunflower right here is Moulin Rouge. Got Morning Glory still growing. I haven't seen any flowering yet, so we shall see. Now this sunflower, these two windows, they sit at my desk here, and this is where I work. And the sunflowers go all the way up. And you would think with full sun in the front, they would be facing front, but the sunflower faces me inside the window, which is kind of cool. And I'm going to bring you all the way over to the right. This is the right. I got more zinnias growing here. More flowers. Now this sunflower here is called Red Beauty. Let's see if we could get... Look at that. Look how pretty that is. There's so many varieties of sunflowers, so I've been really experimenting. You got a lot of others that are going to bloom, and I'm going to see the one all the way back there. It's really tall. That's a Red Beauty too, looking in my window, but it's so high up there. That's probably the one over there. That's got to be 7 or 8 feet tall, the one all the way up top. But I'm going to take you in so you can see that Red Beauty again. Look at how pretty that is. We're going to go over to the left side of the garden. This is the left side of the garden. These are the blanket flowers, and as you could see, they're beautiful. I absolutely loved adding these this year. And I'm going to take you in close so you could really see these. Look at the beauty and the color of these blanket flowers. Now, when the leaves fall off, you do have these round, fuzzy balls. Look at the color. And what I do is I've been cutting them and drying them out, and I will be giving seeds away for these. These are just, they are beautiful. These are in a planter on the left side. The other side is where the bunny is. And then, of course, I have a hanger with purple petunias back there. They're beautiful. And this is one of my favorite spots. Now you got to remember, I just moved in this house in January. I added everything in this garden this year by myself. Give me one moment. And I had to back up quite a bit, and going down my driveway, I have a driveway that goes straight and then to the left it splits. So I kind of have like 2 driveways. And on this left side is this planter, and this is where I planted a ton of sunflowers. It kind of makes a wall at the end of the driveway. There was, you could see that white on the bottom. That is an old telephone pole that the old owner had put there. And there was a space between the driveway and the grass and this telephone pole. So I just filled it with compost soil and I planted sunflowers. So it makes kind of like a wall. And I'll explain that in a minute, but let's go in close to the sunflowers. This is your lemon queen. That's the variety of this flower. And there's 10 of them. Let's see. Oh, you could see a bee doing his work. And these go all the way up. This has to be 11 or 12 feet tall. They're still blooming. They're beautiful. Here's another variety, sunflower. This is more of a yellowish orange, different than the lemon queens. Here is an autumn beauty. Over here is Moulin Rouge and autumn beauties. Let's see if we could get that color. It's dark. It's almost like a deep red. And these are high up. I'm not that tall, but a lot of varieties. You go all the way up there, and you got lemon beauties. Now I'm in the back of the sunflowers now. You could see the driveways behind that. And in back of that, this is my yard going all the way down. And I designed this into a lounging garden area. As you could see in the pots, I already have other sunflowers growing so that when these grow, I will replant I always get 2 plantings a year, and these guys are pretty big. I only planted them a couple of weeks ago. In the back, I grew all of these tomato plants from seed in pots, and they were originally behind the sunflowers, but then they got way too big. And what I did is I lined them up in a row, and it's kind of like a barrier and a wall. I do live on a corner, so if you go down the block, and this is the corner, I'm next to a beautiful church though, so no one's really ever there. Down there I have my raspberry and blueberry and blackberry bushes growing. I put those in this year. To give you a visual, I backed up quite a bit, and as you could see, I have a lounge chair and a chair. My son gave me those when we moved him last weekend to Asheville. So when I take my lunch break, I come out, I either sit in the chair and eat, or I lounge in the lounge chair with the sun. And as you can see, this is the side garden, and I'll bring you in close. Now on this side garden, inside there's the carport, and then you go into the house. So I built this side garden here, and I'll take you in closer. The foxgloves are on the left. They're small, but I do have some growing. They were very tall, and then some of it died off. A couple of morning glories there. Since I had problems with bunnies eating all my stuff, I put a bucket here. The buckets I got at Sam's Club, they're very well made, frost resistant, and they were only $14.99. In Lowe's they were selling for $25.99. So anyway, I picked up a bunch of buckets. In this I have the purple and pink balloon flowers. I have zinnias, and of course I have the cone flowers. The balloon flowers and cone flowers will come back next year. The zinnias you have to plant every year. That is an annual. The balloon and cone flowers are perennials, which means they come back every year. Now, as you can see, I got a ton of sunflowers growing in here. These are the autumn beauties, and they're so pretty. Got some purple salvia. Got some marigolds. They're still growing. They didn't get as big over here as I had hoped. In the pot, they're actually doing much better. Tons. That one sunflower is huge. It goes above. That's probably about 8 or 9 feet tall. Got the big chicken here. This bucket I actually just planted last night. This has zinnias, and as you can see, that big growth there, I started in another bucket and transplanted it last night. And this is going to be petunias that I grew from seed. My Rose of Sharon is starting to get big, and it's got a ton of buds on it. And in this metal planter that I got at Tractor Supply, I have my cucumbers growing. They're getting big, tons of flowers, so they'll be fruiting soon. And I got my beets growing in here. I do have a sunflower there and a sunflower there. In the middle was all what I put in there? Kale. I had kale growing in the middle, and the bunnies ate it all. It's completely, I came out one day, everything was down, gone to the stem. So I do have my beets and the cucumbers growing here very well. This is the back of the planter. You got the big petunias and the petite petunias growing there. Up in the container, I have a big metal planter that has zinnias and sunflowers growing. They're looking good, and they'll be blooming soon. Got my rosemary and all my herbs in those planters in the back there. I actually cut a bunch of oregano and sage and tied them, and they're drying in my kitchen. I love the smell of it. And back of that, peppermint, spearmint, lemon balm. So everything is growing really well. I love summer. This is definitely my time of year. There's a ton of other things I want to do, but I'm going to take you back, and you know, that's where I sit and enjoy a lot of my time. I'm always working in the garden. I'm going to bring you in. You can see there's a ton of flowers on the tomato plants. Tons of tomatoes growing. Bring you in so you could see the lots of tomatoes everywhere. A lot of fruit growing on these. It's my first time growing in the buckets, but I found it very easy in the buckets. I do find you have to water them more because they're not in the ground, but tons of fruit and tomatoes on all of them, and they're all different varieties, and that is what has been keeping me busy. I hope you enjoyed seeing the garden update. I hope everybody's having a good weekend and enjoying myself. This is my favorite time of year. I love being outdoors. I work in the garden almost every day, and I hope everyone is enjoying their summer. And until we meet again, everyone, happy stitching and happy gardening.